Yo! Haven't done my hair yet, but it's not looking bad. But what's good, y'all? Surprise, man. I don't know what this dry spot is, but it's literally making it seem like I'm turning a whole nother color. But let me plug in my microphone. Thinking my voice. All right, bet. What's good, y'all? Surprise, man. And today, man, really quickly, we are about to record our preview predictions. I was about to do it last night. Well, I had work last night, and then I was about to do it early in the morning, and then I was like yawning too much. I wasn't even per se tired, but I was definitely yawning too much for that, and I was like, bet. Anyway, about to go ahead and get into this right now. Gonna go ahead and get into our survivor series predictions, man. Real talk. I think it starts at like 5 o'clock my time. Yeah, I think okay. I'm looking it up now. Okay, it does start at 5 o'clock my time. 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. So yeah, I'll actually be at work again because I got to work one more time this week. So here we go. About to go through the lineup here. We're gonna start off with the World Heavyweight Championship match. Kanta Zering Ganta. W Chapstick. Kanta and Damian Priest. Here we go. I'm gonna say maybe. Oh, I was about to say, for those who don't know, our predictions are we just obviously we talk about the match, we talk about who we think who's gonna win and why. So I think who's going to win this one is probably going to be most likely Gunta. I think Gunther's going to win this because, one, Damian Priest has not been. I mean, the crowd has received him as a decent babyface, but not as one of like their favorites, like how they have with Punk or Roman or even Rollins. I don't think they've received him in that way. I mean, even Jey Uso, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, it's just so many other top baby faces, and when you get Priest, when you get the Priest, it's kind of like he's trying to grow a little bit into his own, but I don't think it's quite there. I'm trying to figure out the best positioning for this. But yeah, anyway, I think Gunther is gonna win. Golly. I think Gunther is gonna. This is crazy camera work. All right, I think this is perfect. Gunther's gonna win here, and he's gonna beat Damian Priest again. Now I think this time he'll beat him clean, but then some may say, well, they're trying to tell the story about Gunther kind of being a little more cautious with these people he's facing, since he's lost twice now. He just lost to Cody at Crown Jewel, so I can see some people saying, well, maybe he cheats to win to further tell that story of him not being the same cocky, arrogant champion. And that could be a case. That could be a case of a story they may be telling, but I just don't think this is one of those situations where you want to see a third match between them, because that's what that would have to lead to. And I'm like, again, I don't think Damian Priest, he's a decent babyface, but I don't think he's strong enough as far as over with the crowd to where people would want to see this a third time. It's like, how bad do they really want to see Priest win the title? So yeah, I feel like at this point, except with the exception of a John Cena coming back, the only person I feel like Gunther is gonna come back and face, if anybody, is probably Seth or Punk at some point before they feud for WrestleMania, most likely. So I ain't gonna cap. I got Gunther winning this, and honestly, I feel like Gunther's probably gonna face a Seth Rollins or someone. Even though he's gone after the world title, a good bit of times. I mean, he's gone after it once when he came back, so I guess he's still kind of fresh there. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Gunther, and then maybe they have him feud with a Seth after this, or maybe they do a third match. I just don't know if the crowd. One of those, y'all get what I'm saying, right? Like, does the crowd want Priest to win that world title back to where you would do this match a third time? And even then, most likely he's not winning anyway. So that's why I was like, So yeah, I got Gunther winning that match right there. We're going to talk about the War Games matches for last. So now we're going to go into the United States Championship match, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. So I'm recording this the morning, because it's still morning, the morning of Survivor Series, for those who don't know. So that's what you're getting this video fresh on this day. So, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. title. I got my boy LA Knight, winning that title. For those who don't know, my top 5 in the business right now is Rock, because he's my all-time favorite. But Rock, Roman, Logan Paul, Trick Williams, LA Knight. Those, not in that order, but those are like my favorite in the industry. For those just like just to give you a little insight. Y'all actually comment y'all top 5 favorites in the business right now. It could be all across the board, or it could be just WWE. You could do whatever. But anyway, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm gonna go LA Knight because one, it doesn't really seem like a time to take the title off of him. The only problem with this is Shinsuke, they just brought him back like 3 weeks ago, and they're already gonna have him take his first L, and it's like, I think it were either 2 or 3 weeks ago. It might have been 2 weeks ago, but it's just kind of like, man, are they gonna have, they're bringing back this more dark, and I can respect that, right? A more sinister Shinsuke, right? Give him a different presentation. He had a pretty dang, pretty dang good match on yesterday with Andrade last night. So hopefully they allow Shinsuke to actually cook up as a more sinister, I guess you could say samurai striker type of heel. And I just feel like LA Knight, this is one of those, it doesn't fit. I feel like they haven't really, and they're trying to build Shinsuke back up already. So it's one of those, if you're trying to build a heel to be LA Knight, I always say, if anyone takes it from LA Knight, I would see it more credibly as someone like a Jacob Fatu. I mean, he just had his first singles match last night, and obviously he's, dang good in the ring. So I feel like somebody like a credible heel like that, I feel would only make sense to take it from LA Knight, man. So this is not the person I think is going to take it off of LA Knight. I think his title reign has been okay, but I feel like it's because if you think about it, I always say this off camera, I was like, man, a lot of his opponents haven't been like over as heels, right? Melo was still trying to get there. Andrade is a face anyway. And yeah, they're all these guys he's been facing are like trying to get over, so it doesn't quite work as well. Shinsuke's another one they're trying to get over again, so that's why I'm like, he's been working with a lot of guys that are trying to get over or get back over, because Shinsuke was over at one point, but now they're trying to kind of get him back. So yeah, I felt like, for example, if he was facing people like Dominic Mysterio or Jacob Fatu or Braun Breaker, these are heels that, like, okay, the crowd's been, giving them some reaction. They've been presented well. So if he was only facing more over heels in the mid-card division, then this would be a different story. But because he's facing people that have been successful like Shinsuke, but again, they're trying to reinvent him and whatnot, and it's kind of, not over. But LA Knight, Jesus, I got picking up the win here. And yeah, man, the U.S. title reign will run on. Here we go. Golly, I think I probably gotta spit this thing out. Alrighty, we are back into this thing. Alright, so here we go. Intercontinental Championship triple threat match: Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Now, leading into this match, they basically had Braun Breaker have a match with each individual. I think Ludwig got involved in Braun Breaker's match with Sheamus, so they kind of have tied it in that way. This is definitely going to be a fun triple threat. All these guys can go in the ring in different styles, right? Braun Breaker has the unique, strength, power, and agility. Sheamus has the, the brawler style, the more, beat them down type of style, not too much flashy moves, but, definitely put on the bangers, as they like to call it, and as he's pretty much trademarked. And then Ludwig can definitely go, man, when we've seen him go, man, he most definitely can do his thing in the ring. But I got Braun Breaker ultimately retaining. It just doesn't really see. I don't think they've built it like a proper story to where you're like, oh man, like he could lose this title. So, and also Braun Breaker, they're not going to give him another short title reign, because y'all remember when they hot shotted it to Jey Uso, that was off of Braun Breaker's first Intercontinental title reign. So yeah, they're not going to do that again. I think they're aware that we're not going to hot shot this title anymore. Like, especially if you want to give it any type of prestige, like how Gunther gave it. Yeah, nah. They're not going to have him lose it again and quicker. So, yeah, nah. I don't think anybody's thinking anyone other than Braun Breaker's winning this match. If so, then you just don't know what's going on for real. But, yeah, that match I don't think needs any more time to talk about. Like, we definitely know who's winning that. And I got Braun Breaker. The dogs will be out in Vancouver. And this will be a great match, man. No doubt will be a great match. Could even be match of the night. You never know. But these guys can all go in their own way, different styles of wrestling. So hopefully they mix it up well and they do their thing. Now, we have the women's War Games match, which makes a little bit of sense. But at the same time, I feel like they also just kind of put this match just to say that they had a women's War Games match. But anyway, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Naomi, and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan, Women's World Champion, Nia Jax, WWE Women's Champion. So both of your Women's World Champions. And Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae will all be in this match. This one is probably the hardest one to me. I feel like this is the hardest one to predict. I'ma go. Rhea is pretty much the most over person in WWE. Bianca obviously has her name, state the same with Bayley. Both are established as one of their top females. Naomi, the crowd likes pretty well. Io's just one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Then you got Liv, who they've done really well with. Nia, who despite the promos I'm not a big fan of, she's gotten over in her way as a heel. Raquel is obviously Liv's muscle. Tiffany is definitely one of their upcoming over stars that they've gotten a reaction from. And Candice LeRae, they kind of just been pushing recently, so that's kind of why it's like, her being in this match is kind of crazy because they just recently started pushing her. But it's funny because I think her and Io were in a War Games match on the same team in NXT, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, just to give some context behind the people in this match, I was gonna go the baby faces winning here, only because that would be the only way you could potentially set up one more Rhea Liv match so that they can ultimately get it back on Rhea, which I feel like has been their ultimate goal, but they just kind of don't know how to get there because at the same time Liv's doing the best work of her career, so to kind of mess this up by giving it back to Rhea is like, do you give it back to Rhea? But then at the same time, who else is an over enough star right now to take the world title off of Liv? No one bigger than Rhea at this point, especially if you want to talk about who's on the same roster as her, then yeah. I don't even know, bruv. Man, I'm torn because I'm like, either they're going to use this as a way to set up another match or they're going to potentially reveal who attacked Jade Cargill in this match and it ends up being one of the faces, right? I see it ended up being maybe either Bianca or Naomi who did it because Bayley, no, they just turned her face at WrestleMania or right before WrestleMania this past year. Rhea's the most over face, so why would you make her heel? And Io Sky, what? So yeah, that's just not even like what? So Naomi and Bianca are the only ones that to me you could try to make some sense out of it. So I will say, man, to say that the heels are gonna win because to both of their world champions are on the same team too, so it's kind of like, Jesus, how bad does your world champions look if they're both on the same team and lose? That's why. And then they got some big muscle there with Raquel and Nia on the same side. It's like, ugh. Then you got some good muscle on Rhea and Bianca too, though. So I don't know, bruh. Do they have both world champions lose when they're on the same team, man? I don't know about that. I'm going maybe the heels winning here, potentially this is a bold prediction because watch the girls end up winning, the faces end up winning this match, but I'm gonna maybe say we get the reveal of who attacked her. They could either be setting up for Bianca versus Jade, or which is the only thing I could kind of, like I said, you can only make some type of sense out of that because maybe it's a situation where she says that she didn't want to be held down by Jade and then, she kind of gets ahead of herself. But even then, I don't know how confident WWE is right now in turning Bianca. But I don't know. This is a bold prediction. But at the same time, I don't really know what other time you would reveal who attacked Jade. Unless it's somebody who we haven't seen in a while, like a Charlotte or somebody like that, who comes back and reveals they did it. So maybe they reveal it in this match, but I just feel like that's such a bold prediction to say that the faces are gonna. I'm gonna go with the heels winning here. You know what? I'm gonna go with the heels winning here potentially because we get the reveal of who attacked Jade and all that, and because that's a good way to forward a story, right? Coming off of a PLE, you get the reveal of who attacked Jade, and then that gets some momentum going into the next show. So I could potentially maybe see that happening, but I just feel like that is a very bold prediction. So you know what? I think I'm going to take the risk and say that the heels are winning here. Now we get to the main event of the night. OG, or I guess you can't say OG versus New Bloodline because there's some added members here. So on the good guy side of things, you got Roman Reigns, CM Punk. I mean, that's already a strong enough team there. Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, so the Usos back, and Sami Zayn, man, honorary Us, versus Solo Sikoa, Tamatanga, Tagaloa, Jaga Fatu, and Big Bronson Reed. Big Bronson Reed. But yeah, so Solo Sikoa, the Tonga brothers, Jacob Fatu, and Bronson Reed. This is going to be a. I'm just looking at the names. Like, obviously they haven't built. You know, Jacob Fatu and Solo and Bronson Reed have probably been built more than everybody else on this. Like, as far as who's been getting built up as a threat, Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu, and then Solo just for being the leader, have been built up. But the Tonga brothers haven't really, other than when they won the tag titles, they haven't really been built up too much as credible threats. But everybody on the face side of things kind of have, like Roman and Punk and Jey Uso more than Jimmy because of, you know, his recent singles run. And, you know, because Jimmy just got back. So I'm going to go with Roman, Punk, the Usos, and Sami Zayn, because now granted, we had a great segment last night, man. It was a great cinematic segment. It's like they're pretty much in their cinematic era with some of these segments they be doing, especially involving Roman. They had a talk there basically just further explaining why Punk is involved in this, and obviously it's because in real life and on screen, his best friend is Paul Heyman, and he's doing this as a favor to him, not as a way to favor Roman. So this could be your potential SummerSlam main event next year. I forget they're doing 2 nights next year, so this could be one of the main events next year for SummerSlam, Roman versus Punk. But that they're just kind of tying a little bit in, obviously, with them both being associated with Heyman in some way, shape, or form. They're already kind of giving you a built-in story there for the future. But so far, this is not about them feuding. It's about the alliance. So I'm sure in this particular match, now I'm sure they're going to have problems with each other when we actually get in War Games. But yeah, I got the faces winning this. Do we get a Rock return at the end? I don't know, because we literally haven't seen him since he returned that bad boy. He just came there because he was there. But I think Rock could come at the end, because there's definitely there where him and Roman, maybe he sides with the heels here. So that the heels don't just take a big loss. You could see like a Rock coming out and siding with them and basically kind of revealing he's behind this whole operation of this different, more dangerous, I guess you could say, bloodline. I could see him siding with them so that the heels don't look like they just took a massive loss. To kind of make people forget about the fact that they lost, that could be a moment there, having Rock maybe show up and he sides with them, and then we get some storytelling going into the Royal Rumble, and that could maybe. But I just don't know what match you would be setting up. That's the only thing about Rock coming back now. Would you be setting up a match? Would you be setting up just more time? Like, what would you be setting up there is the only thing where I'm like, are you going to do that long of a build between him and Roman till WrestleMania 41? Is it going to start in Survivor Series? You know, is it going to start pretty much in December and then go on to January, February, March, and then late April is WrestleMania 41, so I don't know if they're going to build that long. So that's why I say Rock coming back is potential, but I don't know for certain, because you're probably not going to be setting up a match. Well, let's say he does a match at the Royal Rumble, like who would that be against? You know, he seems like with this bloodline, Punk at that point wouldn't have anything to do with the bloodline story. He would just go back to Raw. So maybe Rock could show up because he's wrapped up all his projects. So could show up to maybe side with the bad guy bloodline so that it doesn't make it seem like they just took a big loss and we just go off the air. So it gives you a big thing there so that it doesn't look like the heels, lost everything. You know what I mean? It gives them a little bit of something. It gives them something. It gives you something to talk about when it comes to the heels rather than, oh, they just lost. So could return at the end, but I just don't know what that would set up, right? You would think that would have to set up a match, but who would that be with? If we're like setting up for like the Rumble or something, like, what match would that? What match would that be against? So I don't know. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, that could happen at the end, but I'm gonna go with just that could. I'm gonna say that as a potential outcome that he comes out there and maybe sides with that bloodline and we go off there that way, or the face bloodline can just win this match. But hey, man, overall Survivor Series looks like a pretty good card. The men's War Games match is probably the most hype. Like the World Heavyweight Championship match, it hasn't really, to me, been built as like this captivating must-see world title match, but it's an alright thing to put on the card. And then it's obviously going to be a great triple threat there with Braun and Ludwig Kaiser, but it's not like it's so star heavy. It's more or less, I mean there's names in the match, but it's not like it's Braun Breaker versus like a top star or something like that, other than Sheamus. It's not like it's gonna be him versus like Punk or like a big match that would set the tone for Braun Breaker or anything. But either way, this still, as far as just matches though, like LA Knight and Shinsuke is most likely gonna be the weakest. Is most likely to be the weakest, because I don't know how well or not well their styles will be in the ring. But men's War Games, the War Games matches are going to be fun. Hopefully everything goes well. They built up Survivor Series for the main event, at least. They built it up pretty good, done well. You can kind of debate the other ones as far as just overall excitement, but should be a great show nonetheless. Not a bad card. I think this is a better card than last year, honestly. But hey, man, great to see that they've been doing their thing, killing the game. And hopefully they continue to fire up on all cylinders and that we enjoy this show, man. I just realized Sami Zayn and CM Punk are the only white people in this War Games match. I just thought that was so funny to point out. Everybody else is Samoan. I just think that's so funny. And even then they're on the same team. I just think that's so funny. But anyway, at the end of the day, we're going to say this. What it's going to be is this project continuing to come out with the content adventures, the bangers, over and over again. And we're going to set the tone for what it is to be as a YouTuber, man. Keep killing the game. Y'all like, comment, subscribe before you leave. But until then, I'll see you guys. This is DJ West. Without further ado, let's get it. And if you realize I wasn't yelling and had as much energy, it's because other people in the house, so I kind of had to keep it normal and calm. But love you guys and girls out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.